session on SAP S4HANA Logistics. Okay, so before I go ahead with the demo, let me give me my introduction and let me tell you what exactly is this SAP S4HANA. So my name is Gaurav and I'm working on SAP from last 12 years. Over these years, I worked on different areas. I started as a consultant, then I moved as a solution architect. I have handled multiple projects as a project manager, and currently from around last 3 years, I'm looking out into this SAP S4HANA expertise. So when SAP introduced SAP S4HANA, the first product which they came up with was SAP Simple Finance. Then they came up with various different versions on SAP S4HANA, 15.11, 16.10. So currently, in my current role, I'm responsible for entire SAP S4HANA offerings. Now let me tell you what exactly is this SAP S4HANA. So we are already working on SAP from last many years. I think most of you who joined this demo session, you are already SAP consultants working on different areas in logistics. And I think we all agree to this point that SAP is the biggest ERP in the market today. Okay, and the reason why it is the biggest ERP is it caters to all the industry's requirement. There is a very strong integration between different applications, different modules that SAP provides, and due to which it is being used by multiple industries all over the world. Now, when SAP is already doing so good, what is the reason of coming up with a completely new product? Okay, when SAP ECC, EHPs, like starting with, let's say, EHP 0, today we are on EHP 7, let's say. So when all these EHPs are delivering a very good functionality, what is the reason of coming up with a completely new product? That is a question that we need to understand. So the answer is, as you can see, the environment is changing completely. If I go back, let's say not more, around let's say 5 or 10 years, the way in which the businesses were done is not the same as it is done today. So earlier, when you wanted to buy something, you need to visit a store. And even let's say for example, you need to visit a store, or maybe you need to go to the particular mall and you can find the things. But today, the way in which you are purchasing the things, it has been simplified. You can order something from your mobile, you can order something from your laptop. Okay, so which means that the way in which the orders are coming for the companies, the way in which they need to deliver the products to the customer, that has been changed. Not only the way, the speed also. So for example, if I go not much, let's say 5 years, let's say the online or e-commerce things were available. But what was happening was, if you order the goods, you were not deciding when the delivery should be available. So based on from where the delivery is made, it was taking many days. But today you can see that not only the product, but also the delivery is decided by the customer. And today, most of the customers are not going with the standard products. They want their customized flavor in each and every product. So you are deciding what you want, how you want, when you want. Okay, so customer is a focus, right? So now consider the companies who were working with the traditional approach. In that case, it was perfectly fine to have a single SAP system which can cater to all the requirements like purchasing, sales and distribution and all. But today, when we are talking about getting the orders online, making sure the delivery priorities are made. Okay, so this is something which cannot be independently handled by the SAP ECC system, and that is the reason you can see all over these years SAP has came up with multiple different products. So I'll start with the basic, like if you want the further functionalities that you want to use from the customer relationship point of view, SAP came up with SAP CRM, which is a completely out set of box. Like you cannot have the component installed on the same ECC system. It is a separate box that you need to integrate. Again, some more functionalities from supplier point of view, supplier relation point of view, you come up with SRM. You want to plan the logistics, go with APO. You want to perform the foreign trade management, go with GTS. So what was happening was ECC was massive new functionalities. SAP has came up with multiple independent components which has to be integrated but not embedded. Embedded means what? Something already available within the same common product, central product. And integrated means what? It is a separate component which is integrated to your central component. So what is happening is, this is the example I gave you with the traditional products. If you go only 2-3 years back, you must be aware that there are a lot of other things like Ariba, Hybris, Concur, SuccessFactors. These are all the new dimensional cloud-based products. So what is happening today is, in order to do my business according to the changing requirement, I need Ariba, I need Hybris, I need SuccessFactors, and these are all available as the cloud products which you need to again integrate. So what is happening is, the central component is getting the connection from different applications, and obviously at the center of all these applications is ECC. So earlier, because there was not much of load on ECC, it was okay to work on the central component as it is. But today, if you want to integrate all these new dimensional cloud-based technologies to your central component must be capable of that, must be fast. It should respond fast so that your business processes should not get impacted. So currently what is happening, if you are using the central component, I'm not saying you cannot use Ariba, you cannot use Hybris, but when you use all these independent components and you are communicating with the central component, the speed is slower because the central component was designed many years back. That is the reason SAP has decided to redesign this central component. Okay, we are talking about a central component as of now, but still, when you talk about SAP S4HANA, it is not only the central component, it is a complete set of portfolio that SAP has. But at the core is, at the center is the central component. We first need to simplify this central component so that whatever integrations we are having, they should work fine. Once our central component becomes strong, we can embed a lot of things. Like the plan is to embed all the functionalities which are available in CRM, SRM, APO within the component. So going forward, SAP is looking for a central component which is capable of handling CRM, SRM, APO functionalities without having a separate box. While the other components that I told you, the cloud-based components like Ariba, Hybris, SuccessFactors, they will still remain the external components, but the way in which they will get interfaced with your central component is also going to be faster because your central component is getting simplified and it will be able to communicate with all these new dimensional cloud-based technologies in the faster way. That is the whole idea. So SAP S4HANA, as I told you, it is not only the central component, it is making sure that whatever products comes within the SAP portfolio, including Ariba, Hybris and all, they are communicating with each other in a better and faster way. Okay, so this is a whole logic why SAP has came up with SAP S4HANA, just to make sure that it responds to the market demand. market demands are changing, so you also need to, SAP also needs to change their product so that the requirements are met in the market. Now, why we are calling this course as SAP S4HANA Logistics? Because similar to ECC, when you talk about ECC, in ECC also you have multiple different components. So you have FI, you have CO, you have MM, SD, PP, HR. Okay, so and if we divide them into three more main components, it is financials, logistics, and HR. Similarly, in SAP S4HANA also, the components are divided into finance, logistics, and HR. And since we are all from logistics background, we are not much bothered about the financial functionalities because we don't have that background. We are not much bothered about HR functionalities. We are only concentrating here on what has been changed from logistics point of view. Now, what comes in the central component? In the central component, we get materials management, sales and distribution, production planning, plant maintenance, project systems. These are some of the things which comes within your logistics central component. While out of the central component, you have CRM, SRM, APO. These are also the logistics functionalities, but they come as of today also as a outside component. Okay, going forward, as I told you, the functionalities which are available in CRM, SRM, they will be also available in the central component. It may take time, it may take another
Gaurav,
one.
sorry to disturb you. Are you changing the screen?
No, I'm still not changing. I'm just giving the background.
Yeah, okay. Saptagiri, we are just not changing yet, okay? So please wait.
Okay. So, yes. So, just a minute. Yeah. So, this is just to what SAP, the modules which are divided, as I told you, logistics, HR, and finance. So, within the logistics, you have some modules which are available within the central component, and there are some modules which are still available as the outside components like CRM, SRM and all. But the plan is within the next 1 or 2 years, you'll find that even CRM, SRM functionalities are embedded within the main central component. In this course, we are going to focus on the functionalities which are going to be impacted on the central component. So basically, we are going to talk about 3 modules here: materials management, sales and distribution, and production planning. So we are going to focus on these 3 areas. Whatever has been changed compared to ECC, that is in our scope. Okay, so the complete scope I'll tell you at the end of this class. I have the course content, but this is what exactly we are talking about when we are saying SAP S4HANA Logistics course. It is focusing on 3 areas: sales and distribution, materials management, and production planning. And again, we are only going to focus on the deltas. So this is a course for the guys who are coming from any of this one background. I'm not saying you must be aware of all these 3 modules, at least one module, so that you can understand your own area, and other areas you don't need to worry, because whenever I'm explaining a particular thing, let's say I'm explaining the credit management functionality which comes under SD, and if you are not aware of what exactly this credit management is, before I talk about what is new in credit management, I'll talk about what is credit management and how it was handled in ECC, so that even if you're coming from different background, you should be able to understand what has been changed from the complete logistics point of view and not only from your module point of view. Okay, so let's get started with the slides. So I think I gave you the background. Now, when we say that we want to make sure that our central component is strong, it is responding to the market demands faster, what are the things you wanted to improve in your central component? Okay, simple. If I ask you today if you are using ECC and it is taking a lot of time to coordinate or uh, connect it with the third party, or not the third party, even the SAP cloud-based technologies. So what should be improved? The first answer that you will definitely give is the speed. Now I'll ask you why the speed is slower in ECC. The answer is that we are using the traditional databases. Okay, I'm talking about only the scenario when we are not using HANA. So majority of the customers who are using ECC as of today, ECC, any ECC, EHP 0 to EHP 7, most of them are using non-HANA databases. Okay, and you know all these databases, you consider any databases, they were developed around 30-35 years back. And during that time, the RAM was not available as it is available today. So I think you know that basically when we talk about the storage, there are two kind of storages. One is the RAM and other is a ROM, or RAM or hard disk, right? So RAM is what? RAM is a memory which is responsible for processing your transactions. And hard disk or ROM is a memory which is responsible to store those transactions. So what is happening today, because these databases were developed around 30 years back and the RAM was not available as it can be found today, most of the processing definitely was happening in RAM, but the complete data storage was happening in hard disk. Okay, complete data was getting stored in hard disk. What does this mean now? So let me give you the example of your laptop device. So on your laptop, you have a RAM and you have a hard disk. If I want to change the Excel file which is stored in hard drive T, I need to double click on that file. Okay, it will get opened, then it will come to RAM. I'll perform the changes, click on save and click on close. Once I click on close, it will again go back from RAM to hard disk. So I need to, the time of the time taken by your laptop to make those changes, let's say was 1 second. But in order to open the file, it taken 2 seconds, and in order to close that file, it has again taken 1 second. So starting from when I double click on the file, 2 seconds to load the file, to open the file, I made a change, it took 1 second, and again when I closed it, it again taken one more second. So total time was taken as 4 seconds, while the effective time was only 1 second. Why it has taken 4 seconds? Because the data was actually stored in hard disk. So before you do anything, you need to bring that data into RAM. Again, once the changes are done, you need to save it back to RAM. This is the logic which is used today in any database that we talk about, which is non-HANA database. Then what is the solution? How can we make sure that this non-effective time is getting reduced? The answer is in-memory computing. Any database which supports in-memory, HANA is one of those. What is in-memory? In-memory means you don't need to store the data into hard disk. Whatever data you think that this is my very important data, very critical data, for example, the transactions which are done in last 1 year or maybe 2 years, I want to keep those transactions in RAM because I'm going to do some processing on day-to-day basis. So that is the kind of feature which is available in SAP HANA, in-memory computing, which allows you to store the data directly in RAM so that you should not incur the non-productive time by opening and closing the tables. Whatever things you want to do, you can directly do within the RAM itself. Okay, so that is one of the problem that many of the customers, the consultants have identified, that if I want to improve my central component, I must improve the speed at which the central component works. And in order to improve the speed, because speed is totally dependent on database, I need to replace my database from the traditional database to some database who provides me in-memory computing, and lot of other benefits that we will discuss in SAP HANA section. Second is high cost of operations. Not only the speed, the cost required to perform day-to-day activities. So today, if I'm a user, if I want to create a purchase order, okay, let's say I'm creating a first purchase order for the day. What I need to do, I need to first start my laptop. Okay, I need to uh, log in into SAP. That is also the traditional GUI. Okay, and then I need to enter the transaction code, and then I need to fill the data into different tabs. Now, if you are already a very good trained user, you may not do any error. But normally the screens are very complex in SAP. So the new user, if they are joining the organization and doing the transactions, there are very high chances of doing the error because there are different tabs, many different fields which are confusing, which to enter, which to keep blank. Okay, and at the same time, you need to first start your computer or laptop, without which you cannot do the transaction. So which means you are dependent on the hardware also which you are using, and at the same time the screens are very complicated, because of which there are high chances of error. And not only that, forget about error, you are not doing any error, you are not, let's say you are not considering the time required to start or close the system. Whenever you are doing the transactions, because you need to move into different tabs, you need to find out which fields to enter, which fields not to enter. So let's say you are taking 5 seconds to create one purchase order, or let's say 10 seconds. Now, if I target upon the way in which you do the transactions in ECC system, like let's say you are going into ME21N. This ME21N, when it was developed around 10-15 years back, or let's say ME21, if not N, there is not much of difference. These screens are developed around 10 to 15 years back. Okay, and in today's market or in today's environment, you can see even a small shop owner, he is also providing you a very good user interface so that you can create your own order from mobile. Then being a very big product like SAP, why it is still providing the old user screens where the chances of errors are more, where it takes a lot of time to process a transaction, where I'm dependent upon laptop or computer. So the another demand from the customer is that our screens also should be simplified. We should not be dependent to sit in front of computers or laptops. You can do most of the transactions even from our mobile devices or tabs also. Okay, rather than every time sitting in front of the computer and using these traditional screens, we should be able to use very simple to use screens. So that was a second demand, which is fulfilled with something called as SAP Fiori. SAP Fiori is a new user interface which will allow the user to create a transaction from any device. Obviously, which device to select, that depends upon your IT policy. I'm not saying that if you go for SAP S4HANA, all your transactions can be seen on your mobile device. No, you need to decide with the IT policy what should be allowed, what should not be allowed. Okay, according to that, but I'm talking about the capability here. So SAP S4HANA has a capability, which means you can do many transactions directly on your mobiles and tabs, and that too, the screens are very simplified. Screens are very easy to use, which will save the time for the end user to perform the transaction, and ultimately it will result in low cost of operations. Finally, high cost of infrastructure. So today, if I am a customer, if I want to decide whether I should go for SAP or some other third-party ERP systems, I need to not only worry about the functionalities. I don't need to only worry about what different processes SAP is supporting and what different processes other ERPs are supporting. I also need to worry about the one-time infrastructure cost. So if I go for SAP, I need this servers, I need this licensing, I need this networking devices. In order to support all this, I need this consultants. Okay, so this is one-time infrastructure cost. There are some ERP vendors in the market who are providing the cloud solution. What is cloud solution? Cloud solution means you don't need to worry about the hardware part. You don't need to worry about the networking, the consultants who are going to take care. You just need to pay the licensing fees as a subscription fees on monthly, quarterly or yearly basis, whatever is mentioned in your contract. And you enjoy doing the transactions, seeing the reports directly from ERP. So this is providing additional benefit to the customers who are not ready to make one-time huge investment. Okay, so small ERP vendors are also providing cloud solutions these days. So cloud is something which is being considered by most of the customers. They don't want to incur a one-time cost. They want something which should be available on demand. If I just subscribe and I should be able to use that system. That is where SAP has also now came up with SAP Cloud, which means you don't need to buy any hardware networking devices. You can just pay the subscription fees to SAP or any third-party cloud service provider who will be providing you the SAP system. Okay, so you are saving the high cost of infrastructure here. So these are some of the benefits that the customers are looking in their current ERP system, so that the connection or communication between the different systems like APO, like Ariba, Hybris can be made easier. Now let's focus on the course structure. Okay, what we are going to cover in this course. So we are going to start with the basics of SAP HANA. Okay, because SAP S4HANA is a product which is completely built on SAP S4HANA. Sorry, completely built upon SAP HANA database. So what exactly is SAP HANA database? One characteristics we understood today, in-memory computing. There are a lot of further attributes like column-based data storage, like OLAP and OLTP merging into one common system. Okay, so there are a lot of things which we need to understand from HANA point of view. What are aggregates? What are indices? There are a lot of things which you will find new in SAP HANA. So our first session will be discussing on what exactly SAP HANA is and how it is better than the traditional databases that we were using till now. After the SAP HANA session, which will be SAP HANA is a technical database, right? It is a technical product. We don't need to go into the technical details, but we need to understand the benefits of that from the functionality point of view. Then we'll focus on SAP S4HANA. So key enablers of SAP S4HANA means we'll be having one session on to give you the complete idea of what exactly SAP S4HANA is, how the thing started, where exactly we are today, and what we are expecting in future. Then we'll talk about the activate methodology. So the way in which we are going to perform our projects. Like earlier we were following SAP methodology. Now SAP has came up with a new methodology called as SAP Activate. So the phases of SAP and Activate are different. We need to understand what is the difference. Okay, and once we complete the Activate methodology, we'll see the practical SAP S4HANA system, including the overview to SAP Fiori. So I'll show you how SAP Fiori screen looks like. I'll show you how to check which database we are using in the background. I'll show you how you can identify which SAP S4HANA version we are using. From SAP Fiori point of view, I'll show you what is a launchpad, what are the different kind of apps like transactional app, the analytical app, fact sheets, how to log on through SAP Fiori, how to change your own launchpad, some of the basic information related to SAP Fiori, what are the different apps that SAP has provided which you can use in SAP Fiori. So these things we'll discuss in the first look in SAP S4HANA system session. Then we are going to perform two different projects. The first project will be for the customer who is implementing SAP for first time. It is like a new implementation. The second project that we'll be doing is a conversion project. Conversion project means the customer is already using ECC system and he want to now move on to SAP S4HANA. So these are the two projects that we'll be doing in this course. Now the first project, as I told you, it is a completely new implementation. So we are going to start with scratch, starting from the configuration of enterprise structure, creation of master data, doing the transactions. But again, whatever configuration we'll be doing, whatever master data we'll be creating, whatever transactions we'll be doing, that will be only related to deltas. So the functionalities which are not changed, for example, which are available as they were available in ECC, there is no point in wasting the time and seeing how exactly the things were handled in ECC. We are only going to focus on the functionalities which are changed. Okay, so I highlighted those functionalities. So you can see the material ledger, simplified pricing, simplified data model, simplified output determination, and practical session on SAP Fiori apps, like which apps you will be using, one end-to-end scenario. Foreign trade management and SRM, there will be the theoretical session which will tell you what has been changed from foreign trade management and SRM point of view. From SD, we are going to talk about simplified data model, simplified pricing, output determination, credit management functionality, which has been changed a lot, and rebate processing. This is also one very important thing which is changed compared to ECC. So these things we'll be discussing practically. I'll be showing you end-to-end scenario, and from revenue recognition, foreign trade, CRM, this will be theoretical session. The reason why I have written this theoretical session is because these are external components. CRM is nothing available in the central component. It is out of box component. Foreign trade management, as of today, it is available within the central component, but what I'm going to discuss in the theoretical session is it has been replaced with GTS. So you cannot use foreign trade management functionality anymore in SAP S4HANA system. You need to go for GTS. For revenue recognition also same thing. So revenue recognition till now we were able to use in the central component. Now it has been replaced with a completely new add-on called as revenue accounting and reporting. Okay, and then from the PP point of view, MRP Live is a very important functionality in which we are going to understand the complete end-to-end process of MRP. Then once we complete, as I told you, once we complete the new implementation project, we'll be talking about the conversion project. So in the conversion project, we'll be talking about what is the conversion process, what are the different phases in the conversion process, what different tools SAP has provided for conversion, how are you going to convert your existing customers and vendors into business partners, what is the conversion cockpit. SAP has provided a cockpit so that you should not require to create any BDCs or LSMWs to perform the data migration. All your data migration will be done automatically using the programs that SAP has provided, and all those programs are available within a single cockpit. So what is a conversion cockpit? Okay, once we complete this, finally to end this course, we will be also having one small session on overview to SAP Simple Finance. So once you understand what has been changed from logistics point of view, in the last session we will concentrate on the changes which have been applied in Simple Finance, and we'll be focusing more on the integration aspects. So how the integration between MM and FI has been changed, how the integration between SD and FI has been changed. That is something which we'll be focusing on the overview to SAP Simple Finance. Okay, so this is about the course content. The duration will be around 30 hours. Timings will be same. We are starting this batch from tomorrow itself. Okay, any other admin related questions like what documents will be provided, server will be provided, fees, all these things you can directly check with the Sana or Krishna, whoever you are coordinating with. If you have any questions related to the course content or any functional question, you are you just need to either write your question on the chat screen or just raise your hand. There is a button of raising the hand so that I'll unmute you one by one and I'll answer your questions. Okay, I can see already some questions on the chat screen. Let me first answer those. Yeah, the question is there anything, yeah, is there anything with SAP S4HANA with warehouse management or extended warehouse management? Yes, so as of today, warehouse management and extended warehouse management is available in the same way, which means you can use the warehouse management as you were using in ECC, and you can also use extended warehouse management as a external box. The new thing is SAP is going to bring extended warehouse management, which is available as a separate box today, as a embedded within the central component. Okay, that migration is already in place. There are some basic functionalities which are already available in the central component. Okay, but still there are a lot of things which are planned in future in the next release. So as of today, some functionalities, some features of EWM are directly available in the embedded central product, while you still have the option of either using them as a embedded, or you can still use EWM as a separate box. From the WM point, as of today, it is available in the same way, but it is not going to be available anymore in the next releases, which means only extended warehouse management will be available in future. Normal warehouse management is not something which is going to be available in the next releases. Second question is again on the chat screen, how the implementation is going to be. Is it like ECC? So as I told you, in ECC, normally we were following the SAP methodology. We have different phases in SAP methodology. And when we are talking about SAP S4HANA, it is going to be SAP Activate methodology. There are definitely some changes. I'll give you the reason why there are changes. Again, earlier customers, they were happy to implement SAP even if it takes 1 or more than 1 year. Today's customer, when they are deciding I want to go for SAP, they are not ready to wait. Okay, they want to utilize the benefit as soon as they purchase the product. So the implementation time they are looking for is, it should be minimum. It should not be in years. So how are you going to make sure that the implementation time is down? By SAP, you cannot do. By SAP, it takes a lot of time because you need to follow the waterfall model. But in case of Activate, because it is built upon agile technology, may not be 100% of the features will be available in short term, but yes, many features which are pre-delivered by SAP, you don't need any much kind of customizations. They can be used within 2 or 3 months also. It again based upon the nature of project, how much data is there, what exactly is the kind of project. But yes, the implementation time will come down if you go with SAP Activate methodology, and that is the whole idea why SAP has came up with the new methodology. I'll just answer this last question from chat and then I'll go to the hands. Uh, I am from QM background. What are the delta changes and how much can I benefit from Simple Logistics class? QM point of view, as of today, there are not much of changes and there are not many changes which are planned as of now also from QM point of view. So most of the things from QM point of view will work as it is. And if you are talking from this course point of view, I don't think this will add any benefit if you are only concentrating on QM. If you are looking to know what has been changed from 3 modules, as I told you, MM, SD, and PP, then this course is for you. From QM point of view, I don't think you will be benefited from this course. Okay, now let me just go to the hands first and then I'll come back to the chats. Bhuma, I just unmuted you. Please go ahead with your question.
Yeah. Normally, how long this course is going to take on a regular basis? Is it 1 hour or something going to extend?
On daily basis, we will start with 1.5 hours. So like today and tomorrow, it will be only 1.5 hour, not more than that. But going forward, maybe after 3-4 sessions, it can go up to maximum 2.5 hours, not more than that.
Actually, it's in India. It's 6 o'clock a.m. is too early. Is it possible to extend at least 7 o'clock, something like that?
I don't think so. But this you can check it out with our coordinators because timings and all they all finalize. So you need to check with them. But I don't think so that is possible because we also have some parallel batches which are which are already running. So we cannot take this particular batch to that time.
For example, if we miss any classes, is there any other batches are running as well as same, so that we can catch that points in the next class, something like that?
See, if you are missing any class, you don't need to worry because all these sessions are going to be recorded. Okay,
Okay.
so once the session is done, you will be getting the link from where you can see the video, and you are also getting the option that, let's say, for example, you've gone through the video, there are some pointers that you are not able to understand. So in the next session, I am available 15-20 minutes or maybe half an hour earlier so that you can clarify your doubts.
Okay, thank you.
Prashant, I just unmuted you.
Hey, hi Gaurav. I just wanted to know a couple of things here. Please clarify that since it's coming to the pricing, I just wanted to know the typical pricing and the pricing with Vendavo was quite complex pricing. These pricing data models which you are talking all about, are you talking about just telling us some the table which has been simplified or improved, or is there anything which you are trying to showcase us configuring in the S4HANA logistics system? And then is there any, in short, is there larger changes, or is just a table or field level changes, or are you going to showcase that as a whole configurations and output on the screen, or how it is? That is
Okay.
one question, and I have a subsequent question also. So I'll be asking that later. Please help me to understand this pricing part.
Okay. So when we are talking about simplified pricing, there are two changes in pricing. One is the table level. So earlier, the table KONV was getting updated. Whenever you were creating any purchase order or sales order, the pricing conditions were going to KONV. Okay. And the other change is the accesses, number of accesses within the access sequence. Okay, otherwise most of the configuration will work in the same way. Only thing is accesses, you can have more than 99 accesses. Currently it is only 99. In SAP S4HANA they have increased from 99 to 999 because DIMP solution, which is a discrete industry solution, it is already part of the central component. Okay, now these are the changes. Now because of which, let's say for example KONV table has been changed. So what will be the impact if the customer was already using this system from, let's say, 5 years, and there are some Z reports, there are some transactions which are trying to get the information from KO and V, what you need to manage, how exactly you are going to make sure that your reports are not getting suffered. Okay, so that is something which we are going to discuss in detail. Even the scenario, like when I'm saying KO and V has been changed, definitely I need to post some transactions, I need to show you, see, there is nothing going to be updated in KO and V. So where should I get this information from? So that is something which we'll be discussing.
Yeah, thanks, Gaurav, for clarifying this. One more question is that related to pricing only. Earlier, we used to use for discrete industry or industry-specific solutions like oil and gas, utilities, and so forth. We were using the complex pricing that is by Vendao as a tool. So I just wanted to correlate that thought, since the speed is into picture when it comes to S4HANA. Is there any simplification apart from this, whatever the vendor has taken the stake or that product has that beauty to design various margins and other stuff for complex pricing related? I mean, is that anything or just table level and access level changes and process changes? Or I just wanted to understand and that what depth these guys has simplified this type of product.
Yes, see, from the complex pricing point of view, there has not been changed. So whatever things you were doing earlier, same things needs to be done. Only thing is, you may find some improvement in terms of speed. Why? Because of the SAP HANA database in the background. But otherwise, the way in which you will be configuring, the way in which you will be executing the reports, they will not. That is not changed.
And as you tell that there is a simplified G pricing routines and various things has been written by customer earlier, say, if they would like to go ahead with this simplified solution, then that part of time, is there any handshake or they need to again those objects need to be reconfigured, or how it is, how you are taking care of that?
Yes, so wherever there are changes, if as I told you, SAP has provided a cockpit, this last point, second last point. So if there are any changes in the functionality, SAP has provided a cockpit using which you can perform those configuration changes without, like for example, if you take example of material ledger or credit management, if you are coming from the conversion point of view, you don't need to configure each and everything. SAP has provided a tool which can automatically make sure that those configurations are maintained. Not only configurations, the transactional data which was available in the earlier architecture has been changing to the new architecture.
Now, question here is, I have my own architecture design or logic which I have coming as output, writing the Z pricing routine. Now, those are say number of Z routines are more for me, and I am the customer who would like to go for S4HANA logistic, and there are pricing changes. So, is there how that cockpit has that cockpit will give the standard things? So, about G, I need to be reconfigured, or this has been minimized, or I'm just talking about the effort perspective, where I have say 10 objects which are been hard code, I mean the coded by Z pricing routines, and now I'm coming by there is a cockpit and there is a changes on the table. We understand there is simplified, but as person like me, there are 10 objects. I mean, just wanted to get that picture, like how you'd be handling, because see there is a changes, mean definitely there are the greenfield and the brownfield implementation, and I'm falling the category brownfield. So I'm just
let me answer. I got your question. Sorry. See, it is, when I'm saying cockpit, it is not only for the standard things. Cockpit is also available for the Z objects. There is something called as custom code analyzer, or you can call it as a simplification database. Okay, so using this cockpit, not only you can identify what needs to be adjusted from the standard point of view, it will also tell you what are the things which are going to be affected from your custom codes point of view. So for example, let me give the example. If you have 10 Z objects and you want to know what exactly is the impact on this Z objects, whether I'll be able to use all these Z objects in the same way, or I need to perform some adjustment, this tool will automatically give you that information. Not only that, okay, this object is not supported, but it will also tell you why it is not supported and what kind of adjustment is required. First question is whether the adjustment itself is required or not, and if it is required, what kind of adjustment is required. That will also provided to you by the SAP cockpit itself. You don't need to find out manually.
Okay. Thanks. I believe, yeah, I got it. I mean, the diligence has been taken by a cockpit in terms of
Yeah.
the
Yes.
number of efforts or how much it will minimize and all. So that has been simplified again.
Right.
Okay. Okay. So and the
Sorry.
credit management has moved back from S4 to simple finance. So how exactly you are driving that output from all the aspects? Because we are configuring various areas at transaction level and master data level and various other levels. So how about this credit management feature? You would be showcasing us the output, configuring everything.
Yes. Whatever comes under the credit management, whatever you were using in ST till now, how it has been changed, and the entire scenario, like the complete creation of master data, to doing the transactions, to getting the errors, to release the credit block orders, to seeing the reports, everything will be covered.
Okay. I mean, okay. And what about it? Is there any other changes in? I understand that there is on-premise and the cloud versions. On-premise will come once in a year, and this
We'll
cloud is
talk
coming
about,
every quarter. So 1709 is the version which is yeah, is our doorstep, like it's close to September. So what exactly your suggestion? I mean, I understand that there are huge changes which are coming up in 1709. So people like us, if we are falling under the earlier version, SAP has come with those version that is officially not out, but those version is out. Are you going to take certain features out of that as well?
see, SAP
Because
has a,
1709 is I believe it's the on-premise version, and it gives the bulk kind of changes. Because if the nature of this product is constantly quarterly changing, so we are risking ourselves, delimiting ourselves, you know, and understanding the very few features, and considering ourselves as a consultant will be again challenge for us. So we are just waiting for that, you know, whether to go with this version or whether to go with the 1709. So that will be always, you know, striking in our brain. So what is your thought on this, or what do you suggest to us?
see, SAP has already a roadmap of what exactly they are going to deliver in each version. So when SAP started this innovation cycle, this simplification cycle, they first came up with Simple Finance because they first wanted to simplify their financial processes. Then they came up with 1511 and 1610. In 1511, the target was to simplify the logistics core logistics functionalities, which means MMST, some part of PP. In 1610, they had even more target. They wanted to simplify the APO, means some part of APOs to be included and some part of EWM to be included in the core product. Okay, so if I compare 1511 and 1610, as I told you, I am focusing here on only my core modules, MM, SD and PP. So if I compare between 1511 and 1610 also, you will not find much of differences in MM, SD and PP. Even in 1709, whatever changes are going to come, they are going to come from APO, EWM, maybe CRM, maybe SRM. Nothing is going to be changed from this core modules point of view, and our focus here is core modules. So whatever changes are expected, I'll say 90% or 95% of the changes are already available in 1610. We don't need to wait for 1709 because we'll not be seeing any changes in the core modules.
Okay, okay. So that's, and I just wanted to understand those delta part. I mean, those delta part, whatever it is coming. So 1610 is the on-premise or cloud version?
1610 is a on-premise version. I'll give you the complete overview of what are the different versions when we'll be discussing about this session.
Okay,
So
okay. No problem. I understand that, but it's the on-premise version. And next on-premise version will be, you mean to say that 1709, right?
yeah.
Okay. Okay. So those delta part, but are you going to be going forward? It is just now it's like you know, end of the June. It's a July and August. August and September, like next 2 months, this version is coming, and I believe it is available in the market. So for the training purpose, but not for the customers. So is there any simplification that list a couple of things which are impacting with MMSD and PP? Are you accommodating that, or if you going forward, if you have that plan to be taken care, so can we accommodate in your batch or something to understand that for that delta part only? Because again, market will be demanding us to understand that part. I totally understand that there is a version change we can do on our own self, but if there are, I'm not sure whether there are huge changes or not. But there is a rumor that people are saying that there are a lot of changes. So on that part, could you please help us going forward if you have anything which comes up, or what is your strategy? Because nature of this product is keep changing, and people like us are worried about that. Because this is on-premise, so we definitely expect yearly changes, not quarterly changes. When it yearly changes, so we are expecting little bit, the bulk targeted modules or the processes has been converted as a simplified processes. So on that angle, just I'm thinking, to understand that part.
See, normally, as I told you that this, as of today, since 1610 is available and 1701, 1709, there is no official product available from SAP. So I cannot tell you as of now what is going to be changed in 1709, and my focus here is 1610. Within that also, as I told you, these 3 modules. If before we complete our course, let's say normally it takes around 45 days. Okay, so within 45 days, if we get to know something like, okay, this has been changed from 1709 point of view, I will definitely try to accommodate that part into our trainings. But there are 2 different things. One is what has been changed and whether the server is available or not. So if the server is available, I will also show you those things. If not, and let's say normally the procedure is after I complete the session, let's say if it is taking 45 days to complete the session, after that normally guys ask for 1 month of break so that they can do all these configurations, all their practice on the server, and after 1 month I normally take 1 or 2 sessions based on the number of questions that consultants have. So during that time also, so let's say from today, in next 2.5 months, if there is something which comes up from 1709 point of view, I'll definitely give you the background. But if nothing is coming till that point also, then normally no one will be available for these sessions, I'm telling you, because I tried this earlier. Once everything is done, nobody comes for the session. So if you want, you will be definitely having my email ID. I'll be providing you my email ID in 2nd or 3rd class, so that if you have any questions, you can directly come on that particular email ID. So even if you are coming after 1 year, that is fine. I'll be able to answer on that. Okay, so this is what we can do. If next 2.5 years, next 2.5 months, if you are getting to know something, I'll be incorporating that also in this course. But otherwise, you can ask your question, whatever you have related to 1709 on your mails. Mr. Arjun, I just unmuted you. You need to unmute yourself.
Gaurav, can you hear me?
Yes, Arjun.
Okay, good. So Gaurav, yeah, you said that there are not going to be any change in the core modules. I think they're going to be simplifying the process in the core modules in the S4 compared to the earlier versions, because the number of tables going to get reduced for finance as well as for logistics. So my request is, like, whenever you're explaining the process in S4, would you be comparing the process in older versions comparing to S4? So in that case, we know what is the difference between the old and new, and what are the advantages or the pros and cons in the both versions we can aware of, because I'm a technical guy, so I'm trying to learn the functional piece. So it would be helpful for me, especially if you can compare the both versions and what is especially, or what brings the new features in S4 compared to the older version.
Yeah, exactly. So as I told you, there are the guys coming from different backgrounds. Okay, so for example, if I am telling you something about MM. There are guys from SD and PP point of view also who are already functional, but they don't know the particular process, let's say in MM. So definitely I'll be giving you first the overview of what exactly this functionality is all about. Then I will show you how this thing was handled in ECC, and then only I'll come and tell you, okay, this is now how this thing will happen in SAP S4, so that you can get a complete background of end-to-end scenario. I'll take care of that part. Andrew, I just unmuted you. Not yet, just a minute. I'm not able to unmute you. Sana, can you try unmuting Andrew? Sorry, I'm not able to unmute Andrew. I'll go with the chat questions now. There is one question from Pradeep. Are there any differences or simplifications with connections, integrations with non-SAP systems in SAP HANA? And would, okay, see, most of the third-party systems that you are using today, they will be available in future also, so that you can connect with the central component. As I told you, today, when you are communicating via the third-party interfaces with SAP system, because the speed is slow in your current SAP system, it takes a lot of time to communicate. Now, the way in which the communications are made or the interfaces is connected, that is not going to change. That will remain same. But the response time between these communications will definitely come down, because in the central component you have SAP HANA. This is one thing from the third-party interfaces point of view. Coming to the interfaces which are SAP's own, like for example Ariba, Hybris, APO, these are some of the interfaces which are SAP's own interfaces. And definitely there are simplifications. I'm not only saying the speed, I'm taking the simplifications, the way in which you connect the systems to SAP central system. Definitely there are some improvements, there are some simplifications, due to which this communication will also become very smooth. There is another question from Kishore. So DIMP will not be add-on going forward in HANA. Yes, there are some add-ons which are part of the central component now. You don't need to deploy them separately as an add-on. All other industry specific. So I'll provide you the list when we go further. I'll provide you the list of industry specific solutions which are already part of the product and which are still available as add-ons. Chirag, your question is, there is no straightforward answer. By what time Simple Logistics is going to be 100% function for all organizations implementing SAP now? It depends, because SAP has given them around 10 years of time to move from their current ECC to SAP S4. So when the customers are moving, that is up to the customers. Chirag is having the question, how would you differentiate Ariba with Simple Logistics? Ariba is a separate product. Okay, it is like, for example, it is a part of your SAP S4HANA journey, but it is out of the central component in order to do the collaboration with your suppliers, to send them the purchase orders, to receive the invoices. To make this collaboration simpler, you can use Ariba functionality, but Ariba is out of the central component. It is a cloud-based service which can be deployed on top of your central component. From Prasunna, as the question from ATP and PPDS point of view, there is a simplification in ATP that we are going to talk about, even the PPDS from the simplification point of view, these two topics we are going to discuss. Andrew is having the question. Can you please comment on the perspective of moving from ECC consultant to HANA consultant? What will be the difficult project? Andrew, you are asking about from the consultant point of view, or you are asking about the project point of view? ECC to SAP HANA. Okay. So the question is, moving from ECC to SAP S4HANA, what the project looks like, what will be the duration, and what is the demand, etc. So as I told you, we are going to focus on two projects. One is the implementation project, a completely new implementation project, and second is the conversion project. Conversion project means moving from your current ECC to SAP S4HANA. Whatever are the steps, whatever are the phases that you need to perform, whatever are the tools that you need to execute, and the cockpit that you are going to run. So if you see from here, understanding the conversion tools, processes, understanding the conversion cockpits, these are all related to the conversion. Now coming to the duration cannot be determined easily because it all depends upon various different factors. Whether the customer is already using SAP HANA database or not, customer is using SAP from how much time, which version of current SAP is using today. From ECC point of view, it can be 6.0, it can be 4.7, how much data is available in his current system. There are a lot of factors to it. So you cannot comment on the duration at this point of time. Market demand is definitely good. If you are planning to come to SAP PP, that is definitely good as of today. Mr. Arjun, I just unmuted you. Please go ahead with your question.
Hey, are you going to use the Fiori guided configuration?
See, guided configuration, it is on premises, it is still not available fully functional. It is available on cloud as of today. So I can show you one scenario in which you can see how this guided configuration works, but we don't have the server. We cannot see that in the system that we are using because we are using on-premise.
Okay, so you don't have the Fiori front-end server.
No, Fiori front-end server we have, but it is for on-premise. There is a difference between on-premise front-end server and cloud front-end server. So we have the front-end server for premise, but not for cloud. Is there a separate certification available for Simple Logistics? It is still not available, but it is planned. But this will be giving you the delta. So whatever we are understanding in this course, that things are going to be available in the certification. So there is no separate certification available for each and every module. This Simple Logistics is something which will help you, like if you are certified, this means that you know the data functionalities of SAP S4HANA. Nobody is expecting you to be expert in all the three areas. Okay, we are not saying that if you are a Simple Logistics consultant, you know each and everything in MM, SD and PP. No. If you are a Simple Logistics consultant, you know what is new in SAP S4HANA compared to ECC. Okay. Okay, so that's all for today. We'll close this session now, and as I told you, tomorrow we are starting the this particular batch, and tomorrow we are going to focus on the HANA overview and SAP S4HANA overview. Okay, any questions before we close today? Okay, if not, let's close. Thank you. Bye.